All right, so today we're going to take a deep dive into Chicago's Cultural Mile.
Ooh, sounds
I
exciting.
think it'll be really interesting. Imagine yourself like walking down Michigan Avenue, like right across from Millennium Park. You've got all this incredible history and art and like restaurants everywhere.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to explore today, what makes this stretch of Michigan Avenue so special.
Exactly. And to do that, we're going beyond those like typical tourist guides,
Oh, yeah, we've got like a whole blend of sources. We've got some restaurant websites. We're peeking into some menus, and then we're also going to like dive into some historical context with some Wikipedia entries.
I love it. Okay, so let's start with the anchor of it all. Grant Park.
Chicago's front yard.
Exactly.
Mm.
It's not just like green space, you know. It's almost like a history book come to life.
You know what's always struck me about Grant Park is that it wasn't always this like grand civic space.
Oh, really?
It actually started as Lake Michigan landfill.
Wow. I never would have thought.
Can you imagine that? But over time, it like evolved into this incredible cultural hub we see today.
And it's seen a lot of history, like some major events.
Oh, yeah.
Wikipedia mentions everything from the 1968 Democratic National Convention to Obama's victory speech to like massive festivals and the Chicago
And
Marathon.
it's like a stage for key moments in the cities and like even the nation's story.
So true. But even before all that, this land held significance.
Hmm.
It was a meeting point for a bunch of different indigenous tribes.
Yeah.
The Potawatomi, the Miami, the Illinois, long before Chicago as we know it even existed.
Right. Layers upon layers of history right there.
Exactly. Now, no trip to Grant Park is complete without a visit to Buckingham Fountain.
Oh, it's iconic.
It really is. I mean, it's hard to miss. But have you ever stopped to think about its design?
It's not just a pretty spray of water. It's actually inspired by the Latona Fountain at the Palace of Versailles.
Oh, wow.
And the choice of material is interesting too. Pink Georgia marble.
Pink marble. Now, that's fancy.
Yeah.
But I got to say, the hourly water shows, especially when they're all lit up at night, they're just magical.
And those four seahorses, they're not just there for looks. They actually represent the four states bordering Lake Michigan.
Oh, that's cool. It's like a subtle nod to the interconnectedness of the region.
Exactly.
Speaking of interconnectedness, right on the edge of Grant Park is another must-see, the Art Institute of Chicago.
Oh, it's world renowned.
It really is.
Yeah.
It's home to iconic works like American Gothic.
Absolutely.
But I think what's often overlooked is how the building itself tells a story.
The contrast between the classical and modern architecture is really striking.
Yeah.
I've got the original Beaux-Arts building and then the modern wing designed by Renzo Piano, which opened in 2009.
Oh, wow.
It actually offers some amazing views of the city, by the way.
Oh, I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
And just a stone's throw away from Grant Park, you'll find Maggie Daley Park.
That place is awesome.
This place is like a playground, but not just for kids.
It's a great example of how urban spaces are evolving.
It really is. It was formerly known as Daley Bicentennial Plaza, but it was totally reimagined in 2014 and named after the city's former First Lady, Maggie Daley.
Oh, that's cool.
And the design is so whimsical. You've got the ice skating ribbon winding through the park and winter rock climbing walls, tennis courts, and a playground that even adults would want to explore.
Like they took the idea of a park and like flipped it on its head. It's not just about, passive recreation. It's about engaging with the space in new and exciting ways.
Yeah, I love that. All right, so all this exploring has worked up an appetite, and lucky for us, the Cultural Mile is a foodie's paradise.
Oh my gosh, yes. Where do we even begin?
So many choices. Let's start with a place that really captures that like old world charm. Kanto.
Ooh, a Kanto.
It's nestled in a historic building right across from Millennium Park, and they don't just serve Italian food. They're dedicated to showcasing the authentic flavors of both northern and southern Italy.
I did not know that.
It's really cool. And their wine list is insane, over 700 selections. And they even earned 3 stars from World of Fine Wine magazine. That's pretty impressive.
It really is. It speaks to their commitment to quality and authenticity. They're not just chasing trends, they're curating an experience.
Exactly. Now, if we're talking about places where history meets modern dining, we got to mention the Gage.
The Gage is great.
It's housed in the Gage Group buildings, which date back to the late 19th century. Step inside, and it's all vintage charm. Handsome banquettes, a cozy fireplace, that like clubby allure.
I love that.
And they describe their cuisine as refined rustic,
Interesting.
which I find interesting. They've got dishes like a venison burger and their take on fish and chips, but they also cater to a variety of dietary needs, vegetarian, vegan, gluten-free.
That's great. It's a good example of how restaurants are becoming more inclusive,
Yeah.
recognizing that people have different preferences and needs.
Yeah, that's a great point. And let's not forget about the drinks.
Oh, yeah.
They got award-winning cocktails, curated wines, and a great selection of craft beers.
It's like they've thought of everything.
They really have.
Yeah.
They're clearly paying attention to the details, creating an experience that goes beyond just the food on the plate.
For sure.
But, for a taste of something truly unique, we got to talk about the Berghoff.
Oh, the Berghoff is a classic.
It's a Chicago institution. Have you ever been?
I have. It's been a while, though.
Established in 1898, it's family-owned and operated, and they've been serving up authentic German fare for over 125 years. It's located just off Michigan Avenue on Adams Street, and stepping inside is like taking a step back in time.
Yeah.
Think classic German ambiance, dark wood stained glass, that hearty, comforting feeling. And the menu is full of German classics. Wiener Schnitzel, Sauerbraten, a variety of sausage.
And they even have their own brewery on site.
They do.
Adams Street Brewery serving up fresh German-style beers.
Talk about a complete experience.
It really is.
It's amazing how a restaurant can become so intertwined with the history and culture of a city. It's more than just a place to eat. It's a living testament to tradition. It's crazy how each of these restaurants we're talking about, offers a totally different way to experience the cultural mile.
Right. It's not just the food. It's the whole vibe, the ambiance, the stories they tell.
Totally. And speaking of different perspectives, there were a couple places that really stood out to me when we were researching this.
Oh, yeah? Like what?
Miller's Pub and Mercat a la Plancha.
Oh, those are good ones.
One classic American, one Spanish. What makes them so interesting?
Well, let's start with Miller's Pub. Okay, so it's been a Chicago institution since 1935. They serve classic American comfort food, and their website has all these amazing vintage photos.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you see their dark wood interior, the stained glass, all these celebrities who've been there over the years.
It sounds like you step back in time when you walk in there.
Exactly.
What kind of food are we talking here?
Like BBQ ribs, steaks, their famous Canadian baby back ribs. They even have a 50-foot bar.
Wow.
Can you imagine all the stories that have unfolded over drinks and meals in that space?
It's amazing how a place can hold so much history.
Yeah.
It's more than just a restaurant. It's like a living memory of another time.
Totally. And then you've got Mercat a la Plancha, totally different vibe.
Yeah.
They bring this vibrant Spanish energy to the cultural mile with their modern tapas, and it's inspired by Catalan cuisine.
Tapas are so fun. You get to try all these different flavors and dishes. What was it about their approach that stood out to you?
Well, that emphasis on Catalan cuisine is really cool. That's a region in Spain known for its fresh seafood and bold flavors and some seriously innovative cooking techniques.
So it's not just your typical tapas then. It's like a culinary journey through a specific region.
Exactly. You get to experience its unique traditions.
So we've got the hearty Americana of Miller's Pub and the modern Spanish flair of Mercat a la Plancha. Such a cool contrast.
It really highlights all the different experiences you can have in this one little area.
For sure. And it's not all just fancy dining either. We've talked about places with amazing wine lists and award-winning cocktails. But what about people who are looking for something more casual?
Yeah, or maybe on a tighter budget.
Exactly. The cultural mile shouldn't just be for people with tons of money.
Right. And thankfully, there are plenty of options. Like there's Yoke South Loop, known for their huge breakfast and brunch menus.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of that place.
They've got everything from classic eggs and pancakes to more creative omelets and fresh juices.
And you can't talk about Chicago without Chicago-style hot dogs.
Oh, definitely.
I bet there's some great stands near Grant Park. Perfect for a quick bite.
Absolutely. And there are tons of cafes and coffee shops all over the area for that caffeine fix.
Oh, and don't forget dessert.
Right.
Plenty of bakeries and sweet shops around to satisfy any craving.
For sure.
This brings up an interesting point. We've been talking about how the cultural mile has evolved from landfill to these beautiful parks and cultural institutions. But adding all these different kinds of food, from fancy restaurants to casual spots, it feels like the next chapter in that transformation.
It's like each new layer adds to the tapestry, making it this vibrant and ever-changing destination.
And it shows how the city itself is changing with new people and new tastes.
Right.
Cities are like living things, always adapting and reinventing themselves.
Exactly. That's what makes exploring them so exciting. You never know what you'll find.
So for you listening, what do you think this exploration of Chicago's cultural mile is telling us? It's a place where history, art, and food all come together. It gives you a glimpse into the city's past, present, and future.
It's a great example of how people can transform even the most ordinary places into centers of culture and community.
And it's an invitation to explore, to savor all the hidden gems along this amazing stretch of Michigan Avenue.
It is.
We've gone from the grandeur of Grant Park to the cozy atmosphere of historic pubs, from the modern elegance of a canto to the simple joy of a Chicago-style hot dog.
But our deep dive's not over yet.
Oh, right.
We've got one last segment where we'll wrap it all up and leave you with some things to think about.
Stay tuned. So we've really explored a lot in Chicago's Cultural Mile, from the history of Grant Park to all the amazing food.
Yeah, it's been quite a journey.
Seeing how this area went from basically nothing to this vibrant cultural center.
Like starting as landfill and becoming what it is today is pretty amazing.
As we've been talking, I keep thinking about what really makes this part of Michigan Avenue stand out, what makes it so special.
I think it's because it captures the spirit of Chicago itself. This city built on innovation and resilience, always reaching for something more. You see that in the Cultural Mile story.
Yeah, it's like the miniature version of the city story. You start with this empty space reclaimed from Lake Michigan, and then these visionaries come in. The architects and planners who turned that emptiness into Grant Park, this huge civic stage.
And as Chicago grew and changed, so did the Cultural Mile. It drew in world-class places like the Art Institute and Millennium Park, becoming a hub for art and culture.
And then you have this amazing food scene popping up. It adds so much richness and depth to the experience.
Oh, right.
From classic American comfort food to modern Spanish tapas, from hearty German dishes to authentic Italian. It's like a culinary melting pot reflecting the city's diversity.
And it all blends together so well. You can walk through history in Grant Park, get lost in art at the Art Institute, see the modern wonders of Millennium Park, and then have an amazing culinary adventure all within a few blocks.
It's that mix of high and low, old and new, grand and intimate that makes it so fascinating. There's something there for everyone.
No matter your taste or your budget.
Exactly. It invites you to explore, to discover, to make your own unique experience.
Right.
So for our listeners, what does this all mean to you? What's the big takeaway from our deep dive into Chicago's Cultural Mile?
I think it reminds us that even in a busy city, you can find pockets of history, beauty, and incredible food. It's a place where you can connect with the past experience, the present, and get a glimpse of the future, all while enjoying yourself.
Imagine yourself walking through those incredible parks, feeling the city's energy around you. Picture stepping into a historic pub like the Berghoff, where it feels like time has stopped. Or maybe you're savoring those modern Spanish flavors at Mercat a la Plancha.
You could be drawn to the elegance of Acanto, their award-winning wine list tempting you. Or maybe you just want a classic Chicago-style hot dog from a local stand.
There's so many possibilities.
It really is amazing.
That's the beauty of it. You get to create your own perfect day on the Cultural Mile.
So that's our deep dive into Chicago's Cultural Mile. Hopefully we've sparked your curiosity.
And inspired you to explore this amazing place for yourself.
Definitely. But remember, this is just the beginning.
There's always more to see, more to taste, more to experience.
Until next time, happy exploring.